And welcome back to yet another episode of Geeky Voices Carry, the podcast, the vidcast, the whatever the cast we want to call this cast, that is part of the problem. And perhaps you've forgotten who we are because of Stacy. We have not been around for like a month.
What? How is it my fault?
Because you're Miss Important Pants gamer person now. So also joining us, who are problematic in different yet unique ways, David Rollins, our token Canadian.
Thank you for that. Yes,
Hey.
it's snowing here.
Wow.
I had to put on a sweatshirt this morning, David. So
That's wonderful.
I feel your pain.
I had to shovel my goddamn driveway, so I don't feel any sympathy for you in your sweatshirt.
I wore shorts to work today.
Yeah.
It's about 80, 82.
Yeah, I think we were actually down in the 70s this week. So
Oh wow.
And of course, last but not least, Josh Thompson.
Okay.
The ever-expressive Josh.
Josh is auditioning for the Bruce Willis role in the revival of The Fifth Element.
Oh, I could probably do that. It doesn't really require acting.
Oh.
That's awesome.
Okay, so our theme tonight is we are freestyling. And
Not really a theme. That's like a lack of a theme.
yeah, well, we're gonna.
It's a replacement theme.
We're going to embrace it. And because of this, for the first time in like months, we actually have people that want to ask us questions. We should say in advance more often that we don't know what we're talking about, because then people will handle the generation of topics for us. I guess we can just hit these. Do we want to just get them out of the way, or do we want me to just kind of ambush you guys with them at
My favorite color is orange.
Okay.
I really like
Well,
orange.
Colors?
I
have
guess
for a long
we're
time.
going to take Blue's question. Ironic.
He was.
Blue Tyson, what is your favorite color? Even though he spelled it wrong because the Queen.
No, he must be British.
Australian.
Brilliant.
Australian. Is there really a
He
difference?
spelt it wrong. He spelt it correctly.
We have Australians for neighbors, and they're the coolest people on the block. They're so chill, it's ridiculous. They ran their go-kart into my husband's car, and the wife, she broke her leg, and they came to apologize afterwards.
Wow, it's like they're Canadians.
Except way wilder. I can't even begin to.
I don't know. We could have a contest. It would be awesome.
We're wild
Down
Canadians.
the Commonwealths.
Oofda.
I live in a mining town. my bar for wild is very different from yours.
All right, Stacy, what's your favorite color?
Purple. Not meow.
Not meow.
No.
Okay. Is meow really a color?
She doesn't get to pick a color.
Because she's colorblind.
Josh?
I'm gonna go with purple.
No, you can't.
That's taken.
I have to. It just is.
It's because he's such a
great
big
color.
Prince fan. That's all. Let him be.
I think my favorite color is sparkly.
Fantastic.
So, thank you. Oh, wow, we've got more questions. Oh,
We do.
Yeah.
It's more like a comment than a question. Well, it is a question, actually.
Oh, that is a very good question, actually. Blue also asks, although one wonders if you really don't like snow moving, why live in Canada?
That's true.
Healthcare, actual freedom, responsible government.
And yet your government is trying to take the internet away, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
French Canadian women.
Poutine.
Oh,
I think that's more
Poutine. Yes.
I'm just.
That's why we need healthcare, is because of Poutine.
I've seen a number of Canadians talk about poutine, and I've never once seen any of them pronounce it in your strange socialist manner.
That's because they're pronouncing it wrong. Look, Poutine is the proper pronunciation. It is the actual. It's a French Canadian dish. In French, it's poutine. Actually, I was at a party
No, see,
just
now I know you're lying.
on Friday, and at 11 o'clock they rolled out big troughs of poutine in the lineup. The dance floor emptied, and there was a giant lineup for gravy and cheese-covered French fries. But they were fresh-cut fries. They were so good.
Wow.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
we have descended to new depths now.
I am really hungry.
What you need is probably a pulled pork poutine.
You know what? I cannot disagree with that. Nothing is as good as
Pulled pork?
on anything. So, and then you add gravy, and it's like, wow,
On top of fries.
and cheese.
Yes.
Okay.
What
So
game
here's-
do you want to play, but will probably never play? And what about it attracts you?
Dungeon World.
I don't know. Sarah offered. We just
Yeah,
have
I
to
know. Yeah, I know, but that would mean having Sarah GM. So
What?
From what I've heard, she's like one of the best GMs around.
actually, she is a good GM. You've had her as a GM.
Yes, you have.
That's right.
Even though,
Great.
well, and that whole thing would have gone so much better if you hadn't been so obstinate.
You set the tone when you guys wouldn't let me attack the orcs. Anyways, that's a gaming story nobody wants to hear.
Oh yeah, that one. I remember now. Okay. I forgot.
So, Chris, what is the game that you want to play but probably never will?
I don't know if I have one. I'm trying to think
It's so easy to
what a
play
serious answer for that would be. Because I mean, my approach to GMing is if I want to run the game, you guys don't really get a lot of choice in the mix. So
I've got mine. I can go if you don't want to.
go ahead.
I'm gonna go with chainmail.
You want
I'd
to
want to play
GM?
it because of the historical value it has to RPGs, but probably never will because it's more.
Of a war game than a.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
fair.
my answer.
Did you answer the other part? What about it attracts you?
He said
the
it's
fact
the
that it's
historical.
The
Yeah.
historical attracts you. You're
Yeah, it's the nostalgia he never had.
attracted to old shit. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why he hangs out with us.
Wrong. Wrong.
And this question, by the way, since David read the question and neglected to mention who it was from.
Well, you were talking over me.
Well, that's because you're.
And you also pressed the button which moved it from one place to the other, so I couldn't see it for a while.
Well, the idea of pressing that button is that it shows that we're actually answering the question.
Anyways, it was from Kevin Flynn, who it's a great
There you
question.
go. Yeah.
Can I answer it now? Is it my
No.
turn or is it
No, it's
Stacey's turn?
Stacey's turn.
I don't
Okay,
actually
well.
have an answer to this question, so shoot, because
You don't have an answer?
yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that I don't see myself probably never playing anything. You know, if there's something that I want to play, I find a way to play it, and that's even if I have to run it.
I mean, I've even played World of Darkness
Yeah.
now, so.
hmm
Yeah, I don't like running something I haven't played first.
See, I'm okay with that. Actually, that's my favorite way to learn a game, because if I'm just a player, I don't read the damn book, but if I'm a GM, I read the book.
The only way you learn to play a game.
We'd never noticed that in the last 3 years.
All right. Well, mine's probably Traveler. I would love to play Traveler. It's funny that for some reason I just missed it. We didn't get it up here. As far as role playing games, it was pretty slim pickings. What made it to Sudbury up this far north, and I
Traveler's
just
actually
didn't
kinda
play it
fun.
when it was a thing. And now it's there's different versions. I'd like to play the old classic Traveler.
It's a good choice.
There's really not a huge difference between the contemporary and the classic Traveler.
Yeah. We had basically hacked Star Frontier so much that it was Traveler. when people talk about their Traveler campaigns, they sound like what we did to Star Frontiers.
What are you drinking?
Well, I put it in this thing so that people wouldn't know.
Is it Guinness?
It is not.
No. Well, then it
It's
sucks.
Pepsi.
Yes, it's Pepsi.
Oh.
Thank you. Endorsed
Yeah.
by Geeky Voices everywhere.
Yeah. Well, no.
In a
'cause
frosted mug.
That's what he almost always drinks. So I knew that was what the answer was going to be. And we have actually a reasonable question. Not that the Canada question wasn't reasonable from Blue, but apparently he's going to be keeping us busy with questions tonight. And this is
That's okay.
This is actually a fairly good one. He says, "Speak to us of Red and Pleasant Land and superheroes, remarkable or incredible."
Monstrous.
Oh.
Unearthly, even.
Ooh.
I'd go Class
That's true.
1000.
1,000.
But we're playing... we should stick to Shift X, because we're playing basic.
I'd go borderline riffs. Not quite riffs, but borderline.
I would say it's actually stranger than my Riffs game.
That's because our riffs game only lasted like 2 episodes.
Well, it's because you guys...
We broke it.
Yeah,
We broke riffs. It's okay.
you broke Riffs. And not in a good way.
No, not in a good way.
And you did it in a... Well, really, after you wrestled a dragon, where are we going to go from there?
It's true. So maybe you broke riffs. Anyways,
Wrestled the dragon, you broke Bitcoin.
No, we did get that, yeah.
yes. That was
So
fun.
I mean, really, what more can you do in a Riffs game after you those two things?
It's true. Okay, so Red and Pleasant Land and superheroes. That was one of the things that popped up on Stacy's thread as
I
well.
think that was Blue there too.
Yeah. Well, Blue really wants to know, so we should talk about it.
All right.
The Alice class was one thing he was interested in.
All
we'd
that I
have to
see
we'd
it
have
does
to have
is pulling things out of Pinafore.
That is an enjoyable part of the class.
There's got to be more to it, right?
Well, she's got super strength.
I thought the
Sure.
game was the part of the game thing.
No, actually, it wasn't. Ethel just started going, I need to pull things out of my pocket, and I rolled with it. So it became a part of...
Well, in the Alice story, Alice is often pulling things out of her pockets. And
Uh-huh.
Well, and I think that Ethel is embracing drug use a lot more for her character than even Red and Pleasant Land does. So
that's okay.
It's fitting.
Yeah, as far as superheroes goes, I think it fits well enough. It's a bit silly.
Well, to be fair. I think
And
it's a good time period for it, though, because that's kind of like comics of that time period were often a bit silly as well, so it kind of fits.
yeah, and I mean, as much as Alice is always kind of in peril in the books, she's never in a lethal situation. So the comic book kind of non-lethal game, I think, suits very well for the spirit of the original Alice in Wonderland, which is a bit jacked up by vampires, but I find that vampires really just apply a reasonable kind of logic to all the weirdness of Wonderland. Like, why are there kids in wells? Oh, to protect them from the vampires. Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of things just make sense when you
once
add
you
vampires. Yeah, whereas it doesn't make sense otherwise.
Except for vampire movies or RPGs, then things get less sensical once you add vampires.
Yeah, no, when you add vampires to Wonderland, Wonderland makes sense. If you add them to anything else, it's like, maybe you shouldn't have done that.
So, what do you guys like most about the campaign?
Well, my character's badass, and that's really about all I need.
I'm a giant cricket.
And for once, you're not playing a centaur.
Well, I think in another life he was, so it's close.
He's just a brony.
Yeah. That's really what his whole glam rock outfit actually is just like pre-brony broniness.
That's right. It's really, yeah.
Proto-brony.
It looks a lot like Rainbow Dash's outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's got
what
thunderbolts and
do you
everything.
think, Stacy?
What do I think about what? The game?
Yes.
It's fun. I wish my character was more interesting, but
Well, whose fault is that?
the dice.
I know it isn't. Your character's awesome.
You could have chosen your skills.
I didn't get skills. Wait, did I get skills? I forget.
Technically, you can choose just about everything except the intensity of your abilities.
That's
And you know what?
the problem.
Jubilee is a full-fledged member of the X-Men.
That's horrible. I can't believe.
You just have to figure out how to be Jubilee. Or, if you feel better, how to be Batman standing beside Superman. Batman's still badass.
I don't like either of them. I'm a Marvel.
Yeah.
Well, Jubilee is a Marvel.
I know.
Yeah, but she's Jubilee. Actually, she can kind of do that with her phone. I mean, she just has to like turn it on and off.
That's right. She needs a better app. The flashlight app does more damage than her actual power.
What would you like to see different about the game?
I'd like us to get into Wonderland and stay there.
That, me too.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
just want to get there and be stuck in Wonderland. I want to interact with Wonderland. I want to explore it. I want to figure it out. And I want to see how you're making it different from what it is, because I know you're going to inject a lot of Oz into Wonderland because you're American and seem to think that that's important.
No, it's.
I'm confused.
The Johnny Depp Oz or
The Wizard of Oz. So I don't know.
Johnny Depp was in Oz? Are we
Actually,
talking about Australia again?
Why
He
do
was-
you add
he
the
was
Wizard of Oz to Alice in Wonderland?
Because I think that the Wizard of Oz is the American equivalent of Alice in Wonderland.
Although, this does sound like a fun mashup.
It pretty much
yeah.
is.
So he's just gonna. I don't know if the
The
witches
Wizard
are
of
gonna replace.
Wonderland.
I don't know if the witches are going to replace the vampires or just add another element.
Yeah, see, where Red and
Maybe
Pleasant
vampire
Land
witches.
has the vampires, Oz obviously has the evil witches. So, yeah, it would be two entirely different things.
Maybe they all exist in the same plane, and they're just different continents.
Like Oz is on the other side of the mountains.
Yeah.
That would make
And
sense.
the crosslands and the borders are where,
We need a balloon.
all the really crazy stuff happens.
We just need a balloon, that's all.
Work for the wizard.
Worked for the wizard.
Sudden cat.
Cat pop up.
And then she just laid right back down again.
Maybe the cat was just happy to see us. Now, what? How has a superhero game been different for you guys as players from the other games that we've done?
Mostly the phase rip system. Just the fact that we're superheroes and we're starting off badass. The fact that you can just say, "Hey, I'm a superhero, bitch,"
Stacey's character.
as if, well, she's still like hard to kill. She's resilient.
She's a plucky.
And she has other like resources. I don't know. I think it's all ability based. Like a lot of it rolls off of our just straight stats. Our talents and other abilities don't. They just kind of modify what we've got going on at the basic core of the character. Like as weird as Ethel's Alice character is, she mostly pulls out a fire poker and hits people with it because she's got super strength.
Yeah. So what do you think, Josh? How has a superhero game been different for you?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's all about the story. I think it's all about the story. I think it's all about the character. I think it's all about the I don't quite know. I mean, we do start out at a higher power level than usual, with maybe the exception of Rifts. Um, well, Rifts I basically played a superhero in, so it's
Yeah.
really not that different from that.
You were like a Centaur Green Lantern in.
Yeah, that was awesome. Um, and I'm trying to think well, I mean, apart from that, we just usually play Sword and Wizardry or a bit of D&D, and
Yeah, we're not fragile.
yeah. I mean, fifth edition, we got up to speed pretty quick, so we went from fragile to pretty badass pretty quick. But
Hmm.
this one's just like more so. I guess this is probably maybe closer to Fate and like in feeling, but more powerful than you do feel in Fate, but still
Yeah.
sort of close as far as like squishiness goes.
What
You
about
don't
you?
you don't really die very often in Fate or anything like that, so it's about the same.
No, in the Marvel superheroes game, the classic game, it is really hard to. You almost have to want your character to die in order to die.
Hmm.
Well, because superheroes don't really die in the comics. Even when they die, they come back.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Stacy?
I don't have an answer to that question.
Why don't you have an answer to that question?
Well, it's lasted longer than like 3 sessions. That's different.
That's true. That's a big difference.
Well, yeah, but that's because we all hated one game, and you guys
Which
broke
game
the
did we hate?
the one that we don't talk about in public. Because,
Oh, well, that was the only one though.
yeah. We kept trying. We gave that game we really tried with that game.
The
with
one where you played
Machinations.
space ponies.
Oh yeah, that was
We-
awesome.
That
we
was
tried
awesome.
really we tried really hard with Machinations, and it just didn't.
I loved my character though. It was
Yeah, me
a
too.
character.
I love my character too. That was like the best.
I think you're the only one that actually disliked it.
No, the
Well-
characters were fine. It was just getting to do
Yeah, the
anything in
game
the
was
game
a little
was just.
different.
The system was clunky, and it really wasn't finished. It needed to be
Well,
streamlined a
clunky.
lot and
Yeah.
fixed, and yeah, it just
Played.
wasn't.
But
It wasn't
it
the
needed to be
old
played
school
by people-
interpretation.
It needed to be played by people other than us, apparently.
Sure. I
I
think
was well. I had my suspicions that we were the only people that had played Machinations up at that point. So
Yeah, I got to be an undead centaur in power armor, so I didn't really care.
Yeah. All right. Well, people were asking us to talk about Indiana and Gen Con, and I think we probably should.
Okay.
There's at least a couple people going there, right? Two
Yeah.
of you?
Yeah.
all right, you start, David.
All right. Well, I get why they can't cancel it this year. Besides their contract, a lot of people have already bought their plane tickets, and they just have to roll through at this point. Too many things are already locked in, but it seems clear that they're taking it seriously, and they're working with the city to make
Well,
sure that people, are welcome and safe.
Did you see their latest open letter today?
I did see their latest open letter, and it looks really clear that they're thinking about not being there in 2016.
Yeah. So
And I'm impressed. I think that's great. I think they really need to do that.
well, things like this don't get changed if you aren't willing to.
Be inconvenienced.
Action.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just by going, oh, we would really like for you to not do these things because it's not nice.
No,
and,
it's
and
we're gonna-
not having any follow through isn't going to make any change.
yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I think if my opinion on the matter is if the law is not changed, they need to move.
Absolutely.
If the law isn't changed, this will probably be my last Gen Con as long as it's in Indiana.
Yeah.
Actually, not probably. This will be my last Gen Con as long as it's in India.
Did you guys hear about Connecticut? The governor of Connecticut has canceled all state-funded trips to Indiana.
The mayor of San Francisco did that. I think the mayor of Seattle did too. But that's, I think, part of Seattle is Seattle's trying really hard to get Gen Con because their hometown.
Yeah.
So
That'd be awesome.
Seattle would actually be a lot better place for it.
the problem is
Not for me.
Moving from one coast to the other, you're gonna lose a substantial portion of the base for a convention. Because,
That's true.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't get too much farther away from me, but it probably will.
Yeah, because if it moved to, I mean, I have no problem with it being in Seattle, but if it moved to Seattle, I would probably not be able to afford to go anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, flying all the way across country is not cheap anymore. So.
Yeah, Indiana isn't like really in the middle of the country though. It's quite expensive
Well,
for
no,
me to
that's
get
because
there.
that's because the middle of the country is still fairly open.
Baked.
Yeah, they could have it
And there'd be enough room.
That'd be great.
Yeah, just plop a convention center right down in the exact center of the country.
They'd probably do quite well.
You know,
They should do that.
put a Hyatt and like a Hilton around it. And a Ferris wheel.
One big convention area. They make
Needs a Ferris wheel.
bank. Everything around it should be to support the convention area.
Yeah, now I have to look at
It
a
can be
map
like
to see.
Future World, but with conventions and robot Yul Brenners.
What is the center of your country? What's right in the
It's-
middle?
I
it's,
have absolutely
Kansas.
no clue.
Kansas?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's why I said like Kansas City would be perfect for it because it's actually a pretty
Right in the
low-
middle.
Yeah.
Kansas.
Well, my understanding is that the Kansas City Convention Center is not very well suited for something.
I mean,
as
it
large as
probably
Gen Con.
is it, but that's
Although
I bet you they'd upgrade it in a hurry.
I didn't realize because as I'm sure you know, Josh, your state is also contemplating similar legislation.
well, it's Georgia, of course it is.
But a couple of days ago, Dragon Con made a big statement about that. They're not supporting it, which obviously. But what I thought was interesting was I thought Dragon Con was a lot larger than Gen Con, and apparently they're much closer.
Probably pretty close.
Yeah. Well, the number they cited was 50,000, which would make it actually smaller than Gen Con.
I think they had more than that actually.
Yeah, because that
It's
number
hard
did
to
seem
count
small.
some of
I know.
these.
Well, I know that Dragon Con had a bit of contraction the last couple of years because of the controversies over the guy that was the founder,
Right.
the pedophile.
Yeah. That's gonna hurt your.
Yeah. So, but so I know they've had some contraction over the last couple of years because a lot of professionals stopped going because they didn't want to be associated with the founder. But I mean, it does basically put Dragon Con at being roughly the same size as Gen Con.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting to see the differences in the states. Because if Dragon Con is roughly the same size customer-wise, then it probably has to be pulling in about the same amount.
Oh yeah.
So
Probably.
If Georgia is going to go, hey, $50 million is nothing to sneeze at, we should listen to these people. That makes them, for once, much more, reasonable of a state than.
Well, I think it depends on whether or not Gen Con actually makes good on the threat. If they actually do pull or commit to another city while this is going on, then Dragon Con will be taken seriously because they pretty much have to do it.
That's true.
Well, and I don't think Dragon Con is quite as tied to I mean, I'm sure they probably have the same kind of
Not
contracts,
really.
but I don't think Dragon Con is quite as tied to Atlanta as Gen Con is to Indianapolis.
Hmm.
Because that con actually grew up out of Georgia, so it's not it's not like Gen Con where it's had a history of moving around the country.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So just because of that permanence, I think that's more of a hit than something
No, I
like Gen Con. So
see what you're
I
saying.
don't know. All right, Stacy, what's your opinion on the matter?
I just keep really hoping it goes away somehow. I mean, I just
Gen Con or the problem?
the problem, the the bill as a whole. I just keep hearing more and more companies that are pulling out. Salesforce is
Oh,
huge, and they're
huge
pulling out.
money just pulling out of the state.
Yeah. No,
Angie's List.
I've been trying not to think too far ahead, just kind of watching what's going on and hoping that it that pressure actually works, and that who knows. I mean, they did say in the letter that they were pushing for an amendment to the bill that would make it clear that sexual orientation isn't part of the whole religion thing.
Well,
But
the
that just seems
problem,
like a band-aid, and it's not really
yeah,
solving the problem.
yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about that.
I am assuming that the clarification and rewriting of the bill that the governor is asking for probably will not address any of this,
Yeah.
because having grown up in Indiana, I am fairly certain that the elements who are behind all of this really aren't interested in protecting the rights of
No.
gay and transgendered individuals. So they want basically they want to be able to discriminate against them and have the protection of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
That's just not on.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, it would, in a perfect world, it would be great if if these people all smartened up and made it go away. But I don't see that happening.
There's just too much of this stepping back to a world that never actually existed nonsense. Like this, it's just not okay.
Well,
Like
and
even here in Canada, we've got a bill that's moving through Parliament right now that is really dangerous when it comes to rights. It's one of those safety type things that gives CSIS all kinds of new powers and gives law enforcement all kinds of ways to break people's rights or ignore people's rights and freedoms and violate privacy. And there's all kinds of protests which seem to be slowing it down and might cause some amendments, but the fact is the government has a majority that can push it through if they want.
which is what they did. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I agree.
Word.
I mean, there's really nothing else to say on it. I mean, it's just clearly wrong.
We just have to get the world moving in the right direction, and taking stands, I think, is even, something as inconsequential in many ways as moving a gaming convention. You just have to do it.
Well, and my thing is, I think that the statement that Gen Con made in their latest letter about halting all the expansion plans that they had in place was something that should have been said a lot sooner.
Yeah.
I don't think this should have been like letter number 3. I honestly think that they should have not done letter number 2 and just gone straight into letter number 3, because letter number 2 made them go, it's like, oh, well, we'd really like you to not do this, but we're
stuck.
sorry.
Well, I think the problem was they never expected it to go through. They're like, oh, well, reasonable people won't do this. And then when it did, they were kind of in a, oh, crap, what do we do now mode? And then they're like, oh, well, yeah, we can do this. We're not expanding, so haha.
Well,
It's not getting bigger, so you're not making more money off of us at the very least.
Well, they're probably not going to be making more money off of them, period.
Yeah, well, a lot of people aren't going to go, but like I said, a lot of people have already bought their tickets.
Yeah.
They've already made,
Well, I mean in the future, I think.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're going to have to move it, or they're going to watch it get smaller.
Yeah.
Especially with the gaming kind of crowd, because I feel that they tend to be maybe a bit more progressive. It kind of feels like
You would
that.
think that until you had to deal with them on the internet.
That's true. Well,
I
should
think
say
the majority are. I mean,
others.
what we see on the internet are small, extreme elements that like to talk a lot.
Mhm.
I think the larger group are mostly because of the way tabletop RPGs are delivered. They're in books. The majority of people playing them, whether they have a high education, they at least have a high ability to comprehend and and think and imagine. And generally, when you operate in all these imaginary worlds, you become more open-minded to possibilities, and you evaluate things in a different way. You don't just take things as they're given to you.
I would really like to think that, but a lot of the times it makes it really hard.
Well, I mean, if you look at
The actual experience with, and I'm sure Stacy can agree because she's gotten it firsthand more than I have. I mean, what you see from the so-called enlightened geeky community on paper and the way they actually behave is
yeah,
often two entirely different things.
yeah. Well, I haven't seen those people play games, the ones you're talking about. So I
Well,
don't really care about. Okay, let's take a different example because we've all seen these bad people on the internet complaining about the way people play. The gaming community and the nerd community and the people into sci-fi and fantasy and games tend to dominate the polyamory, and I think that it's that.
you're going to get us in trouble with
What?
talking about polyamory.
No,
Where did we
look,
skip into?
it's a good example because here's a group of open-minded people trying different ways that work for different groups of people because they're challenging assumptions. And that group that explores different ideas all the time through role play or whatever is more open to different ideas and values and accepting different things.
Okay, Josh, I can see you want to
What?
say something, so go ahead.
No, I'm just trying not to laugh or anything.
There's
I
just a
think
really
Stacy wants to
high
say something though. Stacy.
there's a
clearly
high
looks like she
concentration of
wants to say
gamers
something.
in the polyamory community.
And
I have
David knows them
no
all.
comment.
So next
Anyways.
question.
So you have no
It is
comment
true.
on gaming and
There are a
polyamory
lot
because I
more.
think that's obviously what our next topic is gaming and
There's a
polyamory.
lot more, yes, but that is true. There is a lot more polyamory amongst gamers. Or I don't know. I've known some really stupid people into polyamory too. So
Well, yeah, and I'm not saying that there isn't all kinds in every group. There's some really stupid people in gaming too. You know, we've encountered them.
I
It just
think
is what it
what
is.
it is
I think
David?
your majority group is a little bit more progressive.
I think you just want to talk about gore.
I think
I
some
do
part of
not.
it is that right now these issues are like really, really at the forefront of gaming everywhere. And people are talking about it nonstop, and it's causing huge flame wars, and it's causing, and not just that, not just bad things, but it's also causing a lot of good things to happen. People are doing different things to try and see things from different angles and try and be more progressive. And I think that's a big part of it. I wonder if before this really started to blow up, like it has in the last like 4 or 5 years or so, if this had happened, if Gen Con would have done what they're doing now.
I don't think so.
No.
No, I mean
Yeah.
after D&D having the whole passage, the paragraph about playing transgender characters, I don't think it had that same kind of focus. I'm wondering, as the organizer of Contessa, which includes quite a number of people that would be affected by this, where do you guys stand? I mean, obviously you're going now in 2015.
Well, next year, I like I said, I'm taking it basically one day at a time, one thing at a time, one moment at a time. Just I want to see what happens before we really make any decisions. In all likelihood, I pick another convention for us to go to, or something else for us to do instead. But I don't want that to happen. This is our first year at Gen Con, and we've got like 24, 25 events set up, and it's really big. Well, one of the things that we are doing in a nice, wonderful, passive-aggressive way, like a lot of people are, is all of the Contessa swag that we're going to make. We're getting lanyards and T-shirts and ribbons, and we're going to make them all rainbow.
Nice.
Ooh. You're gonna make a rainbow
I want a
dash.
lanyard.
You can have a lanyard. I'll set one aside for you.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
Lanyards are given out on a case-by-case basis.
But if you ask a question right now, you might get one.
Ooh.
The next,
I can't.
the
I
next
can't
person
actually say that.
No.
I can't. I'm sorry. But don't stop typing.
The next person that asks a question will get a personalized David Rollins lanyard.
I could probably send you a Nikon one or something.
That will
Sure, I
have,
have one hanging around.
it will have been dipped in poutine at some point in time.
Oh, I'm just gonna dip some string and puts in and put like a
Rolling
business
rock.
card holder at the end of it and send it to you.
Of course, it'll be postage due because God, the postage between America and Canada sucks. So
It's pretty harsh.
yeah. Okay. Let's do do we want to do a wrap up in general? Or do we want to just go straight to the something cool?
Let's just go straight to the something cool because I'm hungry. Yeah, Bastette's hungry too. She wants me to go eat.
That's because she kicked over her dish just like you did. Now you guys are gonna starve. Don't kick over your water dish, so it's only the toilet left.
Tell Rob the next time he leaves town to leave more food for you.
Or to get one of those dispensers that you.
Oh
just
yeah,
kinda
with
push
the
on.
automated
go.
feeder. Yeah, we had
Yeah.
one of those and
Those
it
are really
really
good.
helped.
Maybe you could just put like a bunch of nuts in there because they're good protein.
I just haven't had time to go grocery shopping. That's all.
For
Sure.
the inclination,
Water
I
bottles.
believe is what you
Yeah.
Hey, I
You're
made
so lost without him. He'll be glad to know that he's irreplaceable.
I made oatmeal chocolate chip bacon cookies while I was unemployed, like twice.
Right, because
Wow.
you had all day to do it.
That's true.
Ouch.
All right.
Survivor
Something
while I was
cool.
doing it,
That
too.
sounds pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. Actually, it does. All right.
Is it normal
What?
bacon?
The cookies were making cookies. It was maple bacon. It was like really thick cut too, and I crushed it up into like kind of big chunks. So you take a bite of cookie, and the cookies were chewy too. So you'd get like this chocolate and the oatmeal, and then you'd have this chewy piece of bacon right in the middle.
I make
That
candied
sounds awesome.
bacon.
Bacon.
Maple bacon is awesome.
You cut it into like chunks, and then you cook it with covered in brown sugar until the brown sugar caramelizes.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really
fantastic.
okay. Something cool. Who wants to go first? And it's not David because
And that was the cooking segment of our show.
Yeah. Whatever you-
we should talk about cooking more often.
We
Yeah.
could.
We
We
end
might
up talking
actually
about food
get
often
a show
enough
on like
that-
track with that.
yeah. The Geeky Food Show.
I know what my something awesome is that what we're doing, right?
Sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Do you even listen to our show?
I try not to.
This is a lot like reading the rules, Chris.
Very true.
Nobody's got time for
I'm
that.
tired at the end of the day.
She is so busy not doing anything around the house that she can't possibly read the rules.
You should really listen to this show during your commute, though. Just kind of pop it into the old iPod there, and away you go.
No, I can't listen to myself. It's impossible.
I don't like listening to myself either.
It's
so
hard.
I can understand that. All right, Stacey, what's your something cool?
I just finished the first season of The Librarians on I don't know what the hell channel it comes on.
TNT?
I got it on Amazon. Is it TNT?
Yes.
It's a good show. It's funny. It's weird and it's corny in all the right ways, I think.
It's a good successor to Leverage, I think.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I see a lot of leverage in it, and seeing Christian Kane in this totally different character that's like he went from this guy who beats people up all the time to this total nerd, art nerd. It's interesting.
So what? Now he just beats people up on the internet.
He paints
No.
them viciously.
No, he doesn't put people up anymore, really.
No. All right, David.
It's a good show.
It is a good show. I've only seen a couple of episodes of it, but I've enjoyed what I saw.
It's very fun to watch it, and it makes me want to play
You know, oops, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Corporea, that game. It's effective.
Oh, Gaboria, yeah.
You know, it's interesting because it's well, I mean, part of the people are the people that did Leverage, and some of the people are the people that did the original Stargate movie.
Oh, I really liked that. It's just me and like 3 other people, but I really liked it.
I like the Stargate movie.
It was
I enjoyed the Stargate movie a lot more than I enjoyed the TV series.
Yeah, same
The
here.
early episodes were okay.
It was too long and it had too much MacGyver.
The first 1 to like 3 seasons were fine. After that, it got a bit long in the tooth.
Yeah. It was no Babylon 5.
I don't know. The last couple of seasons when they Farscaped it up were pretty good too.
I did like the space one, the spin-off with what's his name?
Oh yes.
The Scottish
Universe
guy.
or Atlantis.
Yeah,
Yes.
Universe.
And the little French guy who was the commander.
Yeah.
What the hell was his
That
name?
was-
I can't remember.
It was like
I
the
just
Stargate
watched it for
version
Amanda
of Battlestar Galactica.
It was so good. It's too bad it didn't find its audience because it would have been great to see where they were taking that.
All right, David, what's your something cool?
My something cool. Howard Taylor's Schlock Mercenary webcomic that's been on the net forever is starting a new book today. It's book 16, Big Dumb Objects. They just finished book 15. I can't remember the name of it. It's basically mercenaries in space. Awesome, hilarious, deep. You'll laugh, you'll cry, it'll become a part of you. So if you want to start with today's comic, go to schlockmercenary.com or search for the app on, I don't know, the App Store.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for your phone. You'll get it every morning and be able to go frame by frame with your phone, which is fantastic. Or go back to the beginning and start at the very beginning and watch Howard Taylor become much better at drawing.
That's actually always a good thing with web comics is seeing the transition.
Oh, it's fantastic, and it goes from being, because it started off as a really clear spoof on Star Trek. The humor, the uniforms are very, original series Star Trek, and then it just kind of moves beyond that and improves and changes.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
when he
Josh.
starts shading, it gets
Oh,
really
sorry.
good. That's okay.
Shading.
Sorry,
Does he use
Shading's nice.
Zipatone at any point?
I don't know what that is.
Does he use toner or tone or what?
I don't know.
Are you talking about the anime stuff?
No. Zipatone was the stuff that it was an overlay that they used to use
That's
in the
what
old days
manga
for,
uses.
yeah, for
They
like
still use it.
for shadowing and things like
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
It came in these big like kind of rolls, and you would lay it down there and cut it out
with
to
the
fit into the
X-Acto
art.
knife.
Yeah.
Are we still taking questions?
I have no idea. Is there a good one?
I think so.
No, because Stacey has to go eat.
Uh,
Shut up. It's
No,
Chris's
You don't have any food anyway. What are you going to do? Gnaw your arm off?
Well,
No,
I'll
you
do
need
my
the cat.
something. I'll do my something cool, and then we will take the one last question because Stacy is being problematic. So
Whatever.
yeah, my something cool is going to be and you can only see this if you're watching the video. I'm holding up the Cthulhu from Cthulhu Wars. I got this week. I've yet to play it, but that's only because trying to get 4 people to sync up their schedules to play a board game is
rough. Yeah.
is rough. So, and this is going to be the too long didn't read version, and it's going to be probably highly inaccurate. But I'm just giving an elevator pitch sort of thing.
Can we call it the Stacy version?
Yeah, it's like the Stacy version. Just assume that I haven't read the rules yet. It's basically if you've ever played Risk and went, it's fun playing armies conquering the world, but you know what would be really cool is if I could play Cthulhu in the Deep One conquering the world, then Cthulhu Wars is a game for you.
That sounds awesome. That is a
Yeah.
great elevator pitch.
I'm really looking forward to giving it a try. It's a very, I mean, as you know, I'm not really a big board gamer, but the production values of this thing are just phenomenal. I mean, it's really high end stuff. It's very well made. The board is very durable. So
I
And,
think because the cost of the game is so high that it'd be
Well, yeah.
cheaper for me to drive down and
That's
play
true.
it with you than to buy it myself.
and have it shipped. Yeah, it
Ooh.
took like a week and a half to get it shipped to me from California.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That means it would take like a year to get it to me.
So, all right, and we have one last question that we're going to take just to spite Stacy. What is more
Whoa.
enjoyable of a show, Flash or Gotham? And this is from Doug Eshelman.
I've never seen either of those shows, so I can't even answer that question.
I haven't
I've
even-
only seen
know
one
what?
of the two.
I'm just gonna say Gotham.
But I'm gonna say Flash because I haven't seen Gotham because it didn't look
No,
that
you're
great.
wrong.
Flash
Yeah,
is fun. It has a humor to it.
So does
It
Gotham.
still has its dark moments, but it's got a certain optimism that I really enjoy. Does Gotham have an optimism?
Yes.
Then it's doing it wrong because Gotham shouldn't be optimistic. It's only getting worse.
Oh no! See, it's the false sense of optimism because it's just to tease you just enough to go, oh, okay, well, I guess things aren't that bad right before the hammer comes down.
Yeah.
So that is why Gotham needs a sense of optimism, and Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
So, who would win in a fight, Batman or Cthulhu? Batman, obviously.
I don't know. Cthulhu has some pretty serious advantages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Batman's already been planning for this fight for 10 years, so.
Oh, that's right. He's got contingencies.
Yeah.
And Superman.
And Superman.
And Aquaman.
Yeah.
You can be like, hey, you can control things in the sea, right?
I wonder if that does extend to deep ones. That would be interesting. What if Aquaman actually can control Cthulhu and just decides to take over the world?
Well,
Ooh,
that's why it's good he's one of the good guys, right?
it's like Marvel Zombies, only it's going to be even better.
And have
Aquaman,
fewer
Cthulhu.
zombies. All right, we have reached the point in the show where everyone gets to say goodnight, and Stacy gets to go figure out where food is. So,
Yay!
She's going to roast her cat because she didn't buy any groceries.
they have these places called delivery restaurants.
No, not here.
There is no delivery places in the state of California. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
And where I live, I don't exactly live in the city. So.
I
She
live
lives
on an
out in the
island, and I
sticks.
can get things delivered to me.
Yeah, but you live in Florida, which specializes with in old lazy people.
Yeah, well,
So it's probably a really good market for delivery in Florida.
all right. Say goodnight, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.